So here we are at the Silent Wings Museum in Lubbock, Texas. It's a glider museum from World War II. I guess they got a fully restored one in there, which I guess is pretty rare because obviously when they landed over in Europe, they pretty much didn't come back, and the ones that did land, most of them crashed and got destroyed. So it's pretty rare to actually have a fully restored one. So we're going to go in there and take a look-see. Let's go over here and see what they got going on. Sicily, Burma, Normandy, Southern France, Holland, Estonia, Rhine, Philippines. Oh wow, yeah, all those places over there in Europe. Here's the logo. Let's see if I can get this whole thing in there. There we go. Yeah, that's pretty cool. Check out the edge of the wall right here. Look at how they put the tail end of a plane. That's kind of cool. Okay, well, let's go in and take a look. A gift super. Okay, let's see what we got. Oh, souvenirs. The hub of the planes, Lubbock, Texas. You buy them, we'll fly them. Here's some weapons. Small arms of the Axis power. Got some jab guns, some Kraut guns, some American guns, M1 Carbine, M1 Grand Rising. And let's continue on.
Meanwhile,
December 1941. America enters the Second World War, joining the Allied forces to stop the Nazi conquest of Europe and Japanese aggression in Asia. It was a fertile time on both sides for new ideas on how to fight and win wars. The Germans pursued one of these ideas with stunning success in Belgium and in Crete, gaining the advantage of surprise by delivering airborne troops into battle by glider. Observing the success of the Nazi glider program, General Hap Arnold, commander of the U.S. Army Air Forces, set about creating an American military glider force. The basic idea was simple. Attach a glider, a plane with no engine, to a powered plane. Tow it to a point near the objective, and release it to glide to its destination, quietly, secretly, often behind enemy lines. Gliders could land in small fields which were inaccessible to powered planes, And unlike parachute drones, gliders could deliver heavy equipment and troops, which were ready for battle the moment they landed. To train a glider force, General Arnold turned to the only people with relevant experience in the U.S., civilian glider enthusiasts. Instructors were recruited, and a new training facility was set up in the California desert. The student pilots were a diverse lot. Sport glider pilots, experienced civilian pilots who were considered to be too old for the cadet program, and cadets who were transferred out of the military power pilot training program. But they all had one thing in common. They wanted to fly. As the training program got underway, Army engineers were hard at work developing a prototype glider that could be mass-produced. A jeep with wings was General Arnold's directive. After many ideas, the final design chosen was the Waco CG-4A, which could carry 15 fully equipped infantry or a wide variety of heavy equipment loads. Eventually, more than 13,000 of these planes would be built, the largest number by the Ford Motor Company. Later in the war, some American pilots were also trained to fly the mainstay of the British glider fleet, the Horsa. The activities of the American and the British glider programs were coordinated throughout the war. The U.S. glider program expanded rapidly over the following months, and soon, at training centers established all over the country, student pilots were following an intense course. They were taught the blitz landing, a steep, high-speed approach and landing intended to give the glider troops the advantage of surprise. They practiced water landings, night flying, double and even triple toe, and the dramatic glider snatch, which allowed a low-flying plane to evacuate wounded from the battlefield and to recover a glider after its mission was completed. They also learned to become infantrymen because a glider mission was a one-way trip into a combat zone. Once on the ground, they often had to fight alongside the infantry to clear the landing area. The Sicily invasion in July 1943 was the first major operation for American glider pilots. British pilots flew CG-4As and Horses, and American pilots served as co-pilots on many of the gliders. While the airborne forces achieved their objectives, there were serious flaws in the execution of the plan. Many gliders were released over the water at altitudes too low to make it to the beach. Of the 136 gliders that took off for Sicily, only 49 made it to land. Hundreds of men were lost. A few weeks after the Sicily invasion, a CG-4A crashed during a demonstration flight in St. Louis due to a mechanical flaw, killing all on board, including the mayor and several local dignitaries. Pressure was building to abandon the glider program. Just days later, General Arnold and members of the senior staff attended a demonstration to prove the effectiveness of the CG-4A glider. Hosting the demonstration was Major Mike Murphy, a renowned aerobatic pilot and barnstormer before the war. One of the many improvements instituted by Murphy was the slow, controlled landing to replace the blitz landing, which resulted in so many crashes. Using the sense of showmanship that he had developed in his barnstorming days, Major Murphy put together a show that would be remembered for a long time. Pilots Ed Cook and Harry Loftus remember that night.
And so we came in and landed with this slow approach that we had developed, and we were able to bring all these gliders down without anybody running into anybody else.
And when the last glider broke off and they waited long enough for the war, the C-47 to go away, a strange thing. A band started playing the Air Force song. Mike had fixed it to where he pulled a lever, and there's great floodlights on all of the general officers on the side of this field. They turned around and looked, and there were glider troops with Tommy guns stuck right in their back. General Arnold went back to Washington and said the glider program was on.
Given the green light, the glider program and the rest of the Allied airborne forces began preparing for new missions. In Burma, in February 1944, Japanese forces were threatening Allied supply lines to China. Gliders were assigned as part of a special air commando unit to support guerrilla operations in the area. The glider's first mission was to carry construction equipment and Army engineers into a remote jungle clearing to build a forward base for the guerrilla fighters. With the tow ropes laid out, the gliders loaded and ready to go, Colonel Philip Cochran addressed the glider pilots.
Those guys have got that kind of heart, and they got that kind of guts. It's up to us to get them in there so they can do their job and get them in right. Now tonight, your whole reason for being, your whole existence is going to be jammed up into a couple minutes, and it's just going to balance it there. It's going to take your character to bring it through. Now nothing you've ever done before in your life means a thing. Tonight you're going to find out you've got a soul.
The start of the mission did not go well. Many of the gliders were overloaded, making them difficult to land on the rough terrain. But over the next several days, gliders were able to deliver enough men and equipment to construct a full runway. Over the next 6 months, the gliders flew more than 100 missions in support of the guerrilla fighters. Having learned from the experiences of the Sicily and Burma campaigns, the glider program was about to face its biggest challenge: the invasion of Normandy. 1,034 glider pilots would deliver 4,000 troops, 300 jeeps, and 238 tons of equipment, breaching the Third Reich's supposedly impenetrable Atlantic Wall. Lee Stubbel, who was later wounded and captured by the Germans, was in the first wave of gliders to cross the channel. Even at the time, as he looked out from the cockpit of his glider, he realized he was part of an historic moment.
I looked out and it's an incredible sight. There was the whole armada setting forth, destroyers, cruisers, ferry boats, tugboats, landing craft. It looked like a blanket of steel, maybe 20 miles wide, just heading out toward France. And I remember I had that feeling, nothing's gonna, I know what's gonna happen, nothing is gonna stop this thing.
As the gliders approached their landing zones, it became clear that intelligence photos had failed to reveal the actual height of the hedgerows that separated the fields in Normandy.
We just got landed. What intelligence told us was these small field with hedgerows, beautiful gliders. We like those hedgerows. But we didn't like those damn big trees in the middle.
We're faced with 80-foot trees instead of 20. That cut your landing zone way down, so my bunch were a lot of them cracked up pretty badly.
Despite the many obstacles, over the next few days, the glider forces in Normandy performed better than anyone expected and played an essential role in the success of the invasion. Throughout the rest of 1944, glider pilots continued to make major contributions as the Allies advanced. In Operation Dragoon, gliders spearheaded a large-scale assault on the southern coast of France, diverting the German army's attention away from the Normandy beachhead. During Operation Market Garden, gliders delivered more than 10,000 men behind enemy lines in a bold attempt to capture a series of strategic bridges across the Rhine and push on into Germany. The plan was foiled partly by the unanticipated presence of 2 German panzer units convalescing in the immediate area, but the glider's role in the mission was an unquestioned success, as Bob Flory, the paratrooper who was waiting on the ground for resupply, confirms.
We were helpless without the resupply. By that I mean artillery, I mean rations, I mean ammunition, whatever. But they were the backbone of the invasion, that was it.
December 1944. Allied troops holding the town of Bastogne, Belgium against a massive German counteroffensive were experiencing heavy casualties. General Anthony McAuliffe requested the use of gliders to deliver desperately needed combat surgeons, medical supplies, artillery shells, and gasoline. Glider pilot John Hill was in the 13th glider in one of the missions flown into Bastogne. He recalls how welcome his payload was when he landed.
The airport jeeps were out there with trailers waiting for the ammunition. I mean, it wasn't 2 minutes or 5 minutes till they probably had the ammunition at the gun.
Their resupply mission enabled McCullough's men to continue fighting what would later become known as the Battle of the Bulge. Once the siege was broken, the glider pilots left Bastogne as armed guards for more than 700 German prisoners. And in the last and largest glider mission of the war, Operation Varsity, the Allies secured a critical crossing point on the Rhine River, opening up a northern passage into the Ruhr Valley, Germany's industrial heartland. Although the mission was a success, the fighting was fierce and casualties were high. 38% of the pilots were captured, wounded, or killed during the battle.
Well, that's kind of rough. We had 4 guys in our squadron killed and 4 more wounded.
The main thing, the flak was so heavy, it was almost dark time just from the flak that was going in. It was a rough mission, but still in all, we knew we had to do it.
For many of the glider missions, the costs were high, but the accomplishments were enormous. The men and supplies delivered by glider were pivotal in several key battles of the war. Glider technology would soon be eclipsed by the helicopter, but the glider program, its pilots, and their essential contribution to Allied victory form a piece of history that will long be remembered.
Even though we had a mission that was very, very dangerous, but we all did it. We did it from the heart and soul. I think if they said we're going to have a war again in our age to fly business, you're going to fly gliders, it might be just as rough as it was before, I'd join in a minute.
Even though we were a bunch of oddballs and a motley group, they were some of the finest guys that I've ever known. And I'd say that 99% of them could wear that G wings truly with guts, because glider pilots had guts.
Wow, 74th Troop Carrier Squadron. Holy cow, look at all those people. Huh. Oof, a lot of people. Yeah, that's what those dang things look like. Boy. Liberated German bicycle. Oh, that's pretty cool looking here. Check this out. Hey, look at this little baby bulldozer they put on the back of one of those gliders. It's crazy when those gliders could haul that something that heavy. Wow. Artillery with a Jeep even inside those things. Wow. Oh, look how it went into a tree. Look how the wing. Oh, crazy. Utility trailer. Look at that. That's where they got that Jeep. Check out that cockpit. Wow. Go around here. Brownie, 30 cal. Over here. 19, 30 cal. .81mm mortar. Glider men in combat. Be a medic. Glider pilot. Oh, some K-rats. Got the two guys up there lifting up the front end so I can drive the Jeep out of it. Check out that dozer. That's crazy. Landmine detection kit. Oh, there's the rope that they towed him with. Huh. Alright. Well, let's go in through over here. I think that's where actually the glider is. The actually complete one. Not a piece of one. Quarter ton 4x4 truck Jeep. Pretty cool. German mortar. And there she be. Check that out. Ain't too many of these guys around. Huh. Here's a flight simulator. Check out these. That thing's real. It's not a little kid toy. pilot actually got on there and they closed him up. Crazy. Yeah, pilot trainer. Here's the nose of one. That's where the rope hooked into the front. Some ammo. The Hershey Company, packed in 44. Field ration D. Some ammo. 30 caliber and 8 round clips, bandoliers, M1 Grand ammo. There's the rope. This is a different model. Look how he's up there in the top there. Jeez, all those cables. That's where they put a Jeep in there. That's crazy. Now look at that, and it's just canvas over wood. Check that out. Oh, cool. We can go poke our head in here. Look at that little observation plane. Let's take a look inside here. Looking up towards the nose. Look at all those cables, man. Guess they are kind of disposable, so you don't need something crazy going on, huh? And that's all you get for instruments. And this is where your Jeep would go. Or that bulldozer. This is it right here. Because then when you go to the back end, that's just the back end. So we can actually glide. It's all the way back there. Look at all those cables. All those controls. Wow. That'd be some scary shit. Boy, talk about some crude stuff, huh? Look at that thing. And there's the, whenever you nosedive, you'll go on the skis. So hopefully you don't endo. Look at that. CG4A cargo glider. Pretty interesting. Like I said, there's not too many of these things actually rebuilt. See what we got over here. Looks like they got some. It's some kind of thing going on here today. They got different schedule of events. That'd be the civilian gliders. Remember they talked about those are the guys that train the Army dudes. Check that. Crazy. South Plains Army Airfield, 2 miles. Here's some sleeping quarters. Hey, that's kind of cool. Typewriter back there. Inside the barracks, it's called. Oh, reading a letter from home. Jody been gone. Barracks life. It's pretty cool. Pretty cool. It's not a big museum. Not big by any stretch. And it's just dedicated just to this glider, so not a bad setup, just, you know, this is what you got. And like I said, there's not many of those left out there. They're full of restored guys. So they built this basically for that. And they got a lot of other good stuff here to go with it. But that was pretty much the whole museum. There's a few things I didn't see, so we're gonna go take a look at that. And we'll get back with you. So that's pretty much going to end it here at the Silent Wings Museum in Lubbock, Texas. Until our next adventure, we'll see you then. Say goodnight, Gracie.
Good night, Gracie.
And that's all, folks.